Are you ready to stop riding the emotional elevator of life? Are you ready to learn how to elevate your emotions that keep you psychologically traumatized or in an addictive behavior? You are in the right place. Here is your host, Sandee Byrd, trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach of the Emotional Elevator Show.
Well, welcome everyone. I am Sandee Byrd. I am the host here on Emotional Elevator on the Inspired Choices Network. Like I always say, if you are watching me somewhere else, you can come over here and watch me on Inspired Choices Network and join the chat room and we can have a conversation. Sometimes it seems like it's one-on-one, but come over here in the chat room. But I also want to announce that if you have a voice, we all have a voice. What am I thinking? If you are ready to have your story be told or your voice to be heard out there, let's connect because I have some exciting guests coming up in the next month. Next week, I have one that is, her story is going to rock your world. But I have many stories, many people coming on here that are talking about elevating their emotions when it comes to work, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, when it comes to shame drawers, when it comes to addiction led to trauma and now I'm going to stumble over that word, triumphing over that. So if you have a story, even if you're not out there and you're a coach and you're selling something, but you have a story and you want it to be told and you want to be seen and heard for it, reach out to me at Sandee with those two E's, Byrd, B-Y-R-D, coach at gmail.com. Let's get on a conversation, a connection conversation. Why am I stumbling tonight? Wow. A connection conversation. And let's put your voice out there. Let's get you out there. Let's get you to have a voice because I can tell you how powerful having a voice is. For me, in this past year, for me to talk about the topics I've talked about that I've gone through, that I help other women go through, and I'm not being exclusive to women. I did not announce if you're a woman. If you're a man and you really are ready to tell your story, and you know it's going to move some men to feel vulnerable and tell their story, please connect with me. You can connect with me through my social media, which is Sandee with those two E's, Steenstra, which is Steenstra, Byrd, Byrd. But if you really look up Sandee Byrd, you will find me on social media. I seem to pop up because I'm likable and I'm popular. Anyway, that's not the point. But if you feel like your voice, you're ready to tell your truths, come on. Let's have a connection conversation and let's see if you're ready to be out here in front of people. It's not necessarily about selling something, but if you have something to offer, then let's put it out there. If you have a support group out there that is out there changing people's lives, whether you're a female or male, let's let your voice be heard throughout many platforms, many countries. And what ends up happening when you come on my show is I end up promoting you. It's not about me at that point. It's about you promoting who you are. What makes you special? What makes you unique? Because what I talk a lot about is my life purpose is out here to help other people, guide them through my triumph, through my tragedy. But today I learned in a class that our life's purpose isn't what we do for career, which is irrelevant because that's kind of success, the show. Our life purpose is who we are, who we become, who we're willing to help with our life and the purpose we bring. So if you are somebody who really is ready to get out there and tell your story, come on. If you are not ready to do it on a live TV platform like my show, then we can tape it and we can stream it that Wednesday. But I suggest you just bite the bullet and just, maybe that wasn't a good term to say, but you're ready to talk about it out here in public on a TV platform because I want to be the one to interview you. And like I said, I have some phenomenal women coming on in the next, I think, for the next like 4 weeks. I have nonstop women coming on to talk about how they elevate their emotions. See, elevating your emotions is something we think about every day. And that's why I think it's important to continue to have these conversations and not just be exclusive to what I've gone through, what my clients go through, but there's a couple people coming on the show, few people coming on the show. Why am I saying couple? Few people coming on the show that their triumph through tragedy is amazing. And I want them to have their time and the spotlight on them. So, like I said, reach out to me at Sandee with those two E's, BYRD, coach@gmail.com. Let's connect. Let's have a conversation. See if we can get you on here and start elevating other people's emotions. And like I said, it doesn't have to be you're selling something, but if it's about support groups you found that might benefit them, if it's just about getting your voice, finally releasing it out, because sometimes we don't realize when we are able to talk about it, we're releasing so much more when we can talk about it instead of stifling it, which a lot of us was raised, don't talk about it, don't speak about it. But now that I speak about it, I've healed a lot of autoimmune diseases in my body by speaking about it. So now that I've talked about that, let me also talk about my programs because I am a coach out here. I'm not just a life coach, I'm a transformational coach. And one of my programs that I have is Unleash Your Authentic Self. And what is unleashing your authentic self? It's those constraints we have from social expectations, self doubt, and yes, I'm kind of reading something, self doubt and limiting beliefs, because I have a lot to cover on my show. So sometimes I got to have a little cue card. But it's reconnecting with your true essence, who you really are, figuring out what are your beliefs and values that you have within you, figuring out what is my life's purpose, rediscovering who you are underneath the skin. Who is it that you're meant to be? Because that's what unleashing your authentic self. There's many tools. I have spreadsheets I can use for you to work with. We can just get on calls and go through talking about how to start unleashing your authentic self because I've already spoken of this. Up until about a year ago, I didn't like that word authentic because I hadn't gotten to where I am. And now that I've worked with other clients who all of a sudden are like, yeah, I don't really like the word authentic because when you don't know who you really are, you don't like what authentic is. You don't like that word until you can really say, oh my gosh, I think I figured out who I am. Then you're like, I'm being authentic. Because a lot of people are out here saying, oh, what does authentic mean? It's when you can unravel, unleash, like really unleash the lion, the lioness within you to go, this is not who I am. This is who I am. And if you work with me and if you watch my show, you know I have a magic wand. So this magic wand might just turn you in to who you're meant to be and what your life purpose is. And when I talk about life purpose, it's not necessarily about what your perfect career is. It's about finding out what your purpose is in life, who you are meant to be, and who you are meant to help, because all of us in life are meant to help in some way, some shape, some form. It's not about working that perfect career or job. So, like I said, if you want to come on my show, I know I'm just like throwing a lot of stuff at you. If you want to either come on my show or if you want to talk about working with me and unleashing your authentic self, let's get on a connection call. You can get in touch with me at that Sandee with two E's, beach. Why did I just say beach? Byrd, BYRD, coach@gmail.com. My old email was Sandee Beach. But I am Sandee Byrd. I'm a flying bird. I'm in air. I'm in. Reach out to me or get in touch with me on social media. Say, hey, I watch a show. And if you are watching my show, listening to my show on any platform, please like, subscribe. If you can leave a comment, please leave a comment and be authentic with your comment because everything means what it means to me. And if it means a topic even if you want to reach out to me and say, you know what, I'd really like to hear about this topic, reach out to me. Doesn't mean you have to be on the show, but it can be something that we talk about or I talk about. So let's start talking about this show tonight because this show is all about success. And this came to me just recently, and I'm going to get into that. So, how do you measure success? And I'm going to read to you what I put out there. When you think of success, what comes to mind? Is it the image of a fancy car, a big house, or financial wealth? Society often equates success with external symbols. But as women, is that truly how we measure our worth and accomplishments? Do we see having the perfect bodies, perfect clothes, and perfect careers as successful? And in this episode, I, Sandee Byrd, will explore what success means to me, especially as a woman, and how that definition has shifted over time. For many of us, it's easy to get caught up in the societal pressure to have it all: a thriving career, a picture perfect family, the material luxuries that seem to signify success. I will talk about how I help other women learn success is just about being a woman in all her glory. Success is measured by having kids, raising them, and teaching them the tools of survival. Sandee, I keep telling myself in third person, Sandee will also talk about legacy isn't monetary inheritance, but generational curse breaking inheritance. See, I've already mentioned that, gosh, it's been like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, not 3 weeks ago since I saw Balinese healer, but I went on a spiritual journey to Bali. I've been on my journey for a while. And when I was there and I saw Balinese healer, he kept saying, stop chasing success. See my success. I've been very successful. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I've been very successful. And I sat there and I went, I have been successful. I've been a manager. I've, I've ran restaurants. I've done multiple great jobs where I've been in power. So yeah, I've been successful. And he didn't speak very good English, but when he went like that, and I'm shaking my head no, and he was waving his finger, and then the translator said, that's not what he's talking about. Your success is just being a woman. You raised 3 children, and what you're doing right now to break generational curses. See, I never said that. I never told anything. And this is a Balinese healer that I know didn't go on social media and knew who was coming and was researching us. No, he knew. He could see. He's like, you're teaching your children more lessons in life. And I right away was like, yeah, raising my hands, yeah. And everyone's like, what's going on with you, Sandee? And as I walked away and told them, and then realized I could have taped it, and I would love to have had that tape, but I don't need it. I didn't need it. Was that I have been successful. I have broken generational curses. I have taught my children to become authentic. I've taught them that it's never too late to heal. I've taught them that it's okay to go through the trauma and stuff as long as we heal from it. And when I say trauma, some of them had severe trauma that I wasn't comprehensive of. But just being successful enough to tell them, you know what? It's okay. We can talk about this. You can confront me with this. Being successful too as their mom means allowing them the freedom to speak to me and tell me what happened without saying, no, no, no. Allowing them the freedom to say, Mom, I wish you were there more. And taking it in and not defending myself. That's success. Because hearing that, most of the time I'm like, yeah, but who would have paid the bills? I would jump in and defend myself. Instead, now sitting back and going, you're right. I should have been there more. I should have allowed more of your father. I should have not felt I had to do everything. I had to be successful. I had to prove to my children that I could be successful, because there's a lot of children out there that have their mom at home and don't see any difference with success and kind of feel like their mom, that they had more successful family life because their mom was home. And I'm not knocking any single moms out there that have to work to provide for their children. It's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying is we need to also teach them that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to realize that we need to grow within ourselves, that it's okay to take time for us as women, because that's successful and that's important. But you know what? It's already time for our first break tonight. And of course, tonight's topic is, how do you measure success? But also, we are going to go to this break. And if you want to reach out to me, I know you want to reach out to me. And like I said, be a guest on my show. Or you want to reach out to me and learn how to unleash your authentic self, please do, at Sandee, Sandee, Byrd, Byrd, coach at gmail.com. Of course, I do have an email with the show at sandee@emotionalelevator.com. Also, you can reach out to me on any social media platform, and that is Sandee with those two E's, Steenstra, Byrd, Byrd, on any social media platform. And if you want to get on a connection call with me, get on that connection call with me. But let's go to that first break.
Are you living a life of psychological trauma or suffering from an addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body? Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to sandy@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. And of course, you can reach me at Sandee with those two E's, Byrd, Byrd, at coach@gmail.com. And you are listening to I Am Sandee Byrd. I am the host here of Emotional Elevator. And what I started my show by talking about is that if you are ready to have your voice amplified, exactly like it said, over many global, please reach out to me, get on a connection call, and let's talk about bringing you on as a guest and how powerful speaking your truth and being your authentic self is. Because like I said, me in this last year has elevated my emotions and even have elevated who I am over this last year, giving myself a voice. And I also went into my programs. I am a coach that works all with, right now, women, not exclusively to women, but that work with women who want to start unleashing their authentic self. I have other programs like Thriving Through Forgiveness and Find the Empowerment Within. That one is the one that is probably newest for me, even in my life, because I'm still empowering myself every day. And that's why also wanting other people on my show as guests is empowering them, which in turn empowers me. So I know you want to reach out to me. It's just a connection call. Nobody knows about it. At Sandee with those two E's, Byrd, BYRD, coach@gmail.com. But tonight's show has all been how you measure success. And this show to me came to me kind of last week, but I really didn't decide that this is what I wanted to talk about until I got signs from the universe that this was the topic that I needed to bring forward. And like I already spoke about, successful. Being successful as a mom is allowing our children to speak to us in what they are feeling without stopping them. So allowing my children who knew I was the breadwinner of the family and that I wanted to provide for them, things that I could not provide, was not provided with. Ugh, I'm stumbling. Provided with. So I wanted to do the be all. I wanted to be all. I wanted to be super mom. I still failed. But it doesn't mean I'm not successful. And what I learned as I started talking about is from the Balinese healer when he said, "You've been successful." And I was like, "You're right. I've been a manager. I've ran restaurants. I've actually been a liaison for new restaurants. I've done this. I've done that. Man, I have been successful. I became a manager at the age of 18. Oh, man, I have been successful." And he's shaking his head like I am and waving his finger. No. And the translator said, "That's not what he meant. You've been successful in breaking generational curses. You've been successful in teaching your children it's okay to heal. It's okay to let go." And that has been the biggest walk away from for me for Bali is that, man, I did do that. I am successful. My job is basically done. But yes, do I still want to be successful in my entrepreneurship? Oh, absolutely. Do I want to make sure I'm a successful coach? But here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, I have been a successful coach because I've helped change one person's life, more than one. But sometimes we think success has to be measured in millions and in hundreds. But I did an event here in Richmond. It's been over a year ago. It was the Mental Health Awareness Rally. And what I was told is it doesn't matter what you do as long as you can affect one person. And I did. Being a coach, as long as I can help one person, I've been successful and I've done that. But I want to help other women or men, like I said, I'm not exclusive, in seeing that they also can be successful within themselves through healing, because that's how you are successful, is when you decide to start working on the healing. And like I said, I've been successful in my children's eyes because I've talked about my trauma. I've started letting go of my trauma, giving them the freedom to talk about theirs, giving them that space to say, "Mom, you weren't there when we needed you. Mom, when we were struggling with racism, you weren't there. When we needed our mom to comfort us, you weren't there. Yeah, Mom, you were there for every football game, every cheerleading, every basketball. I was even a coach for one of the basketballs. I was even a wrestling referee. But I missed the trauma. I really miss that. But now that I can allow them that freedom to talk about it, I've gained that success back. And that's what means more to me than anything. And listening to other women and a healer at the last retreat I was at to say, "Oh, you're a phenomenal woman. You're a phenomenal mom. Take that success and run with it." And I am. But now I want to kind of get into a little bit more of the story of the two moms that played big roles in my life more so my biological mom and my mother-in-law. So of course, my mom, I've told the story, was an alcoholic, put me through a lot of trauma. I'm still learning about some trauma now, that my children endured with her. But when she passed away, she left money. She left us money. And I want to say, what was it? 3 days after she passed away, I went and bought myself my car, a new car. And I was so proud of myself because I was like, I bought myself a car. It was my way to fill a void at the moment. Beautiful Ford Edge, beautiful white, kind of that metallic white. I didn't like the rims on it, so they changed out the rims for me and everything like that. But I had to buy something material because I was lacking from her. I was lacking stuff from her. And I think about the money. Yes, she left me money. And you know what? I've used most of that money and even the investment side of some of that money on working on myself and healing myself. She left money to my kids. They got their money. And they now are working on themselves, but their money was already used for other things. But thinking about that, my mom left me money, which had no value to it. It was money. It didn't do anything. And my daughter now says, Mom, I would rather you leave me nothing and teach me everything and show me that you enjoyed life and that you got freedom. And yes, I'm getting emotional. And that to me makes me realize that success isn't measured by inheritance or money or everything. Success is measured by the values that we teach our kids, not give them the values, but teach them values. And that's what my programs with women are about. And I'm coming up with a retreat to do with women on how to get to this part in life where we stop chasing that the the capitalism. I'm going to say it out loud, capitalism that here we have. Other countries, the women stay home and care for their kids. Here, we're supposed to have the kids. And I put out a social media post. So if you follow me on social media, you've probably seen my post about as women nowadays, 2 days in the hospital, you're back home, you're back at work, you're doing this. Instead, when are we going to realize that success is what we teach our kids how to heal, how to let go of the trauma, how to be successful within ourselves, to know what our values are, to know who our authentic self is. Because that's what I'm working with women to teach them. And I'm working with women my age who have children, who they're still trying to build the relationships with them. And I'm blessed that even though there was some damage done, even by me as a mother, that I'm able to build these successful relationships with my kids. But what I wanted to bring up was my mom. She left me money, but she never healed. We did intervention, called her out for alcoholism, everything, but she never healed from that, but left me a good sum of money, bought a car, invested some money. Anyway, then, like I said, my mother-in-law, I got to spend 2 years caring for her. She left us nothing because she had nothing. But the lessons I learned are so much more valuable than the money my mom left, because I got that value from her. I got that a boy that I'm so proud of you. Why do you work so hard? I'm so happy you're working on yourself. I'm so happy you have the relationship you have with your kids. I'm so happy that you found God. Like that to me, and there was nothing to leave because we were caring for her at the end. I think about it. She was so successful. because she left us those gifts of giving, the gifts of joy. Those gifts are successful. See, and she talked about how she worked one day and she came home and her husband said, "My wife will never work." And she felt that she never had purpose in life, but then she went on to have a greater purpose by being a devoted Christian. And she wasn't one of those devoted Christians that shoved it down your throat. She just would ask you, "Do you know who God is? Do you know who Jesus is?" And she would use her own value system, her own personal touch to make you feel comfortable and wanted and valued. And that is so much more than my mom, who was successful. She was successful alcoholic. She was successful at her careers. She made phenomenal money. She raised 2 kids. She was still successful, but she wasn't able to heal herself. But she left us money. My brother and I walked away, was able to, and took money and ran with it, but we never got the heal. We never got the healing side of it. But she did teach me how to go for the golden nugget in the capitalism and materialism, because she was that way. But anyway, it's time for our second break. And we're going to go to this break. And like I said, if you ever want to reach out to me at Sandee with those 2 E's, Byrd, BYRD, coach at gmail.com, please do, or Sandee at emotionalelevator.com. Like I said, if you are ready to unleash your authentic self, let's get on a connection call. Or like I've already mentioned too, if you want to be a guest on this show and have your voice be heard, and it doesn't matter if you get emotional, because I've gotten emotional. I get emotional. You can see me sometimes. I'm up and down because this is what authentic is. I have strong emotions. So if you're ready to have your voice be heard, or if you have a great program out there and you want to get on a connection call because you feel that this program brings value to the world, let's get on a call and let's talk about having you as a guest on here. But let's get to that break. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body? Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Sandee@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. Wow, I just thought about this show is definitely a show for me, Emotional Elevator, because I am sometimes on an emotional elevator. Like tonight, I've already talked about success with me and with my children, and I got emotional, and now I'm elevated again because I got it out. But what I've been talking about, but first let me say I am Sandee Byrd on Emotional Elevator on the Inspired Choices Network. And when I started my show, I did talk about if you are ready to have your voice be heard, if whether it's just because you're ready to have it heard, you have a program that you're launching and you just want to get it out there, let's get on a connection call. I am going to point this out too. I'm going to be exclusive who I have on the show. I'm not just going to get on a connection call, but I want to have people who inspire other people, whether it's through your work, whether it's through who you are, because next week I'm going to have somebody on here that is an inspiration to many. She's an addiction survivor, she's a burn survivor, she is a thriver in life. I'm going to go ahead and say her name is Crystal Ray. If you are out there on social media or YouTube or anything like that, her story is impactful. And that's why I want to have her on here because I want her to talk about how she elevates her emotions on a daily basis, considering she is burned 80% of her body. And I want her on here too after this show because sometimes even success we measure by having the perfect face, the perfect lips, the perfect boobs, the perfect waist. And we see that sometimes it's successful because I look like me. The point is you can do all that, and I'm not discrediting that. So do not sit here and say that be what the hell is she talking about? Because I know people who've had boob jobs. I know people who have lips jobs. I know people who have, I mean, I get a facial every month and I have them scrape off dead skin. So I'm not opposed to any of that. But my point to that is don't do those things for the materialistic view of it, or don't do those things because you think it makes you look successful. And don't do those things unless you've healed underneath of it. Because as mothers and as parents, what are we teaching okay, as mothers, because this is about success as women, as a mother, if you're out there getting a tummy tuck and your boobs done and your brows lifted, your face lifted, I don't know, your butt done, and you have a daughter, what are you conveying to them? Well, honey, to look good, to be successful, you need to have all these things done. Now, if it's reconstructive surgery, that's different. Or if I just would feel more comfortable, but I'm comfortable within myself to have my boobs lifted, that's different. Because I know right now I am my authentic self and I'm comfortable with who I am. So if all of a sudden someone walked up to me and said, you know what, for you, I'm going to lift them, I probably wouldn't get, because mine are still pretty nice, I have to say. But right now, I, of course, am dealing with the menopause belly, but I'm still comfortable with it. It doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change my success with my children. It doesn't change my success as a coach. It doesn't change anything about me to get these things done. So please don't think I'm knocking it. I'm just saying sometimes that's also how we measure success is by faking it, faking it. Success is more measured by success. Sorry, I was looking at one of my statements that I just said. Success is more about what are we doing for our future generations, even if we physically don't have kids ourselves? What are we promoting out there? Because there are many successful women out there who have not had children but have made impacts in children's lives. So think about that. I'm not saying any woman who doesn't have a child is not successful. What I'm saying too is, what are you conveying to other people as success? Because a lot of times we do measure success as the big house, the fancy car, the perfect body, the the best pictures of the family. Everyone's standing there after you've screamed at them for an hour And now they're miserable and they're taking the best picture because they want it over with, because they want to get out of the room with you, because you have just killed their mojo for the day. I still work on my success with my children. I still allow them the freedom to call me out. And that is successful. When I say something wrong and they want to challenge it by not getting defensive, that's being successful. And I know deep down inside that I'm going to leave my kids an inheritance of healing. I'm leaving my kids an inheritance of healing. And that is more powerful than anything, because I talked about in the second half where my mother left me monetary, but never worked on herself, never did intervention, never did any of that. Yes, she saw a therapist, but I still don't understand what that therapist was doing, because obviously she had them conned. Um, Obviously, now that I can sit back and think about it. Um, but then my mother-in-law, who left nothing, left value, left purpose, left her passion, told me that I was successful. And that meant more to me than anything. But she also told me in the end, slow down, slow down. Why do you do all this? Why do you work so much? Why don't you just slow down? And that was the one thing I learned in Bali. Why don't I slow down? And like I said, successful women who are teachers, by changing a child's life. Think about a teacher. And, maybe that's what I should have put on here. Some of the best teachers in life make nothing. I have two aunts that were teachers. I had my son, one of his girlfriends was a teacher. My son's girlfriend now is a teacher. We have teachers in our family and everything, and they don't make diddly squat. But there are kids out there that talk about how they changed their lives. Like, have you ever gone to a funeral of a teacher and listened to some students? They're saying, she changed my life forever. I became an author because of this teacher. Listen to a lot of even stars and how they talk about a teacher. A teacher doesn't make diddly squat. I really want to probably use a different word, but they change the course of someone's life through something they've said. And that is successful. And like I was told when I decided to go into coaching, don't measure your success, Sandee, by money. Measure it by the one life that you might change forever, that you might help. So I've been very successful, and I'm going to continue to be successful because I am authentic, and I want to work with other women, even men, who are willing to get over that trauma, willing to realize that they have an addiction, and what changes can they make within themselves to change that, to become successful. Because let's stop measuring success by what we obtain. Why don't we measure success with what we attribute to the world? Attribute to the world, not obtain in the world, attribute to the world. I like that. Let's stop measuring obsess. Let's stop measuring success by what we obtain, but let's measure it by what we attribute in the world. Because that is successful. Because how many of us mothers out there are putting kids into the world that have societal issues. But we're willing to give them money. We're willing to send them off to college. We're willing to do all these great aspirational things, but we're not teaching them, look, you can take a step back. You can say that your dad and I splitting up changed who you are. Talk about the feelings that they have, because that is successful, is being able to sit down in a room with your children and give them, which this has already been spoken of in the beginning of the show, giving them that freedom to speak their truths and not get defensive. And also to allow other people, even men out there, allow people to speak their truths to you. Even men get so defensive when their children want to say, hey, Dad, I wish you would have been there when this happened to me. Well, how would you have gotten a new car if you got in that accident? That's not the point. The point is, I needed you. I didn't need a damn car. Oop, I just said that out loud. I didn't need a car. I needed my dad. Or, Mom, I didn't need that material thing. I needed comfort. So think about that when you measure success in your life. Are you going to measure all the material things you can leave for your children or your family or the people around you if you don't have kids? Or would you rather them talk about you and the lessons you taught them and the values in life that you gave them and what you attributed to their life? It's time for our last break. And this just has opened up even more. My head is having aha moments right now, thinking more about success and those that can change the course of people's lives that don't make but diddly squat. But you hear about them being these great people because they change the course of other people's lives. So it doesn't have to be parents. We have teachers. We have, I'm going to say, policemen, firefighters. They don't make crap, but you hear about them changing the course of someone's life. So it doesn't take money to be successful. It takes what you attribute to in life. So let's go on that last break. And if you want, reach out to me at Sandee with those two E's, Byrd, BYRD coach at gmail.com if you want to continue this conversation, or if you want to be a guest on my show and you want to have your voice heard. I would love to have a teacher out there talk about how she continues to elevate her emotions, or even someone who is a first responder talk about how they elevate their emotions. Because my shows to come are going to have people on here who are willing to talk about how they are successful in life. And if you have a program that you want to talk about, reach out to me. Let's get on a connection call. But let's get to that last break because I only got a few minutes left to go on this show. And thank you for joining me tonight on Emotional Elevator. I am Sandee Byrd, and you are watching me, listen to me through the Inspired Choices Network. So thank you.
Are you living a life of psychological trauma or suffering from an addiction? Are you ready to learn new techniques to elevate your emotions without sustaining or obtaining them from substances that are not good for your mind or body? Then continue to tune into Emotional Elevator with trauma, addiction, life, and spiritual coach, Sandee Byrd, where you will learn techniques to elevate your emotions that don't require a magic pill, food, or impulsive behavior. Listen to Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Emotional Elevator with Sandee Byrd. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to sandy@emotionalelevator.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back. We only have a few minutes to go on this show, and I am Sandee Byrd on Emotional Elevator on the Inspired Choices Network. And like I say, if you're ever listening to me, watching me, like and subscribe. If you can leave a comment, leave a comment. But one of the biggest, I think, takeaways for me or aha moments is when I said success isn't measured by what you obtain. Success is measured by what you attribute in the world. And I wanted to talk a lot about being a mom and how I never thought I was successful. But then when I was told I was successful, I still measured it by my job. And not that I raised 3 children, not that I started breaking generational curses, not that I taught my children inheritance. But now I realize the inheritance healing. When I said also, I'd rather leave inheritance and healing, because the monetary or the materialistic things that we leave people or leave our children, but we don't give them the opportunity to heal, all they're going to do is blow that money unless they take it to heal themselves. But wouldn't you rather be there during that journey? Because as a mom, I'm very blessed that I know I'm here to witness, and my kids are here to witness my journey of healing and their journey of healing. Because I think that's the greatest gift we gave each other, was success. And we need to stop measuring success by houses, cars, bodies. Let's measure success, again, like I said, what we can attribute to the world. If you can help one person in life to change the trajectory of life, you're successful. And I know as a coach, I've been successful because I've helped people see that they can be their authentic self and how they can use tools to become their authentic self. And like I already talked about, one of the programs that I have is about unleashing your authentic self, figuring out who it is, what are your values, what is going to make you successful within yourself to be successful to others. Because that's what unleashing your authentic self is. And how rewarding and important that is. And tonight's show has, even I, speaking, have had aha moments about success and how I realized that teachers and first responders are recognized for the attributes they've made in people's lives, and they are very successful. They're not getting paid the money they deserve for their success, but they're changing the trajectory of people's lives. And you too can change the trajectory of people's lives. So thank you tonight for tuning in to me on Emotional Elevator. This is Sandee Byrd. And how do you measure your success? And are you going to look at your success a little differently? And let's get on a connection call. Let's unleash that authentic self. Or if you're ready to have your voice be heard, let's get on that connection call. And reach out to me at Sandee with those 2 E's, Byrd, B-Y-R-D, coach@gmail.com, or follow me on any social media platform. But again, you have been listening to the Emotional Elevator on Inspired Choices Network. And how do you measure success? And how do you want to measure success? So thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for listening to the Emotional Elevator Show. Sandee returns Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, start elevating your emotions and stop riding the emotional elevator that is stopping you from living the life you deserve.